The Boiled One. The Boiled One is Dr. Nowhere's most recognizable monster because of its deeply unsettling appearance and the way it slowly invades the mind of its victims. Its melted face, stretched smile, and distorted body look almost human, but not human enough to feel safe. What makes the creature terrifying is that it doesn't always attack directly. Instead, it appears in dreams, videos, and hallucinations, making people question whether they are awake or trapped inside its influence. The monster became extremely popular online because viewers were disturbed by how casually it speaks while looking completely unnatural. The Mimic. The Mimic is designed around one of humanity's oldest fears: hearing something familiar that feels slightly wrong. This monster copies voices, behaviors, and even appearances, but never perfectly. Victims notice tiny mistakes in speech patterns or facial expressions before realizing the creature replaced someone close to them. Dr. Nowhere uses slow pacing and silence to make the Mimic feel believable, turning ordinary conversations into horror scenes. The idea that someone beside you may no longer be human is what makes this monster so effective. The Smiling Room. The Smiling Room is less of a single creature and more of a living nightmare environment. Anyone who enters the room begins hearing distant laughter and seeing people with impossible smiles staring from the corners. Over time, the room changes shape, trapping victims deeper inside while removing doors and windows. The horror comes from isolation and psychological pressure rather than violence. Dr. Nowhere's presentation makes the room feel endless, as if escaping it is impossible once it notices you. The Hanging Man. The Hanging Man appears motionless at first, usually suspended from ceilings, trees, or dark hallways. The unsettling detail is that it slowly moves closer whenever nobody is looking directly at it. Victims often realize too late that the figure has changed positions between glances. Its body looks unnaturally thin, with long limbs bending at impossible angles. The fear surrounding this monster comes from anticipation. Audiences constantly wait for movement, knowing the creature advances the second attention breaks. The Eyeless Watcher. The Eyeless Watcher has no visible eyes, yet somehow always seems aware of everything around it. Dr. Nowhere presents the creature standing silently in backgrounds long before characters notice it. The monster rarely speaks or attacks immediately. Instead, it watches from a distance, creating tension through presence alone. Its blank face forces viewers to imagine emotions that are never shown, which makes the creature feel unreadable and alien. The longer it watches someone, the stronger its influence becomes. The static caller. The static caller communicates through televisions, radios, and corrupted recordings. Victims usually hear distorted whispers hidden beneath electronic noise before the creature fully appears. Dr. Nowhere often uses flickering screens and broken audio to make scenes feel unstable and real. The monster feeds on paranoia, convincing people they are being watched through every device around them. What makes it memorable is how ordinary technology becomes threatening once the static caller enters the story. The Hollow Child. The Hollow Child looks like a lost kid standing alone in dark places, but its behavior quickly becomes unnatural. It repeats phrases with no emotion, stares without blinking, and moves in sudden, jerky motions. Dr. Nowhere uses the contrast between innocence and horror to make the creature disturbing. characters often approach it thinking the child needs help before realizing something is terribly wrong. The reveal usually comes slowly, which makes the tension more intense. The red mask. The red mask is mysterious because almost nothing is fully explained about it. The figure wears a bright red face, covering that hides every human feature, making it impossible to read expressions or intentions. Unlike louder monsters, the red mask remains calm and silent, often appearing at the edge of scenes before disappearing again. Dr. Nowhere uses minimal movement to make the figure unforgettable. The lack of explanation turns the monster into something viewers keep thinking about long after the video ends. The flesh corridor. The flesh corridor is one of Dr. Nowhere's most grotesque creations because the environment itself becomes alive. Walls pulse like organs, breathing sounds echo through narrow hallways, and human faces sometimes emerge from the surface begging for help. Characters trapped inside slowly lose their sense of direction and identity. The horror comes from being consumed by something enormous and organic. Dr. Nowhere combines body horror with claustrophobia to make the corridor feel impossible to survive.